Welcome to my reroll Hellion Kled guide. This build recently showed up after Kled got some decent buffs, and we slow roll at level 5 to get 3 stars. In this video, I will go over the build, what items you make, how to play before, during, and after level 5, what you do if you get contested, then I will go over some in-depth positioning examples. But first, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video, which is Tacter. It's the best mobile app for all things TFT, and even if you're like me and you mostly play on desktop, it's still a fantastic resource whenever I'm playing on my phone. The app shows you all the meta team comps, and for each comp, they tell you what items you want, how to position, and what the game plan of the comp is. You can also make your own comps, in case you want to build something a little differently, or if there are other items you use for that comp. Also, being able to add in notes is huge, and with this video, you can take notes to remember the most important parts of the video. There's also a wiki that lets you see all the details of every unit, what comps they're commonly used in, and also a breakdown of their traits. Similarly, you can see all the traits in detail and every single item and shadow item in detail. You can also check out other player profiles, so if you're curious about what I'm playing, you can search up my profile and check it out yourself. You can also favorite profiles so you can quickly get back to them later. Thanks again to Tacter for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description to check them out, and enjoy the rest of the guide. This is a slow roll comp, meaning that we want to roll down to 50 gold to maximize our odds of hitting 3 stars. The level we slow roll at is level 5. The build is extremely linear, as there are only 2 different level 5 boards you can run. The best one is 5 Hellions, but the other one you can also run is 3 Cavalier and 3 Hellions. Either of these are fine, but the 5 Hellion one is preferred. You will slow roll with this board until you hit Kled 3 star. You can also go for some other 3 stars, and your priority is 3 star Kled, Sigs, then Poppy. It is a bit hard to hit 3 star 2 costs at level 5, so we generally don't want to chase those. But if you do find a large amount of Heckrooms, Cannons, or Sejuani's at level 5, then it could be worth going for. Once you hit Kled 3 star, you push to as far of a level as possible. At level 6, you're on 5 Hellions 2 Cavalier, and at level 7, you're on 5 Hellion 3 Cavalier. At level 8, you will add in either Rel for 4 Cav, or Darius for Armor Shred, since Kled is an attack damage based carry. Kled is the primary carry for this comp, so we prioritize making items for him first. He has one core item, and that is Deathblade. Shadow Deathblade also works. This is because his ultimate scales incredibly well with AD, and therefore we want as much of that as possible. His second item wants to be Shadow Hurricane. Regular Hurricane also works. This item scales incredibly well with AD, and also gives us some backline access. This way Kled will still do damage if he gets stuck on a tank. The third item for Kled wants to be either of the BTs or Last Whisper. Last Whisper increases Kled's DPS by a huge amount, especially if there are a lot of redeemed or Ironclad players in the lobby. BT lets Kled sustain if he takes damage and lets him live through a lot of the splash damage. In general, Last Whisper is a bit better, but once you hit Darius, you can get the armor shred from him instead, so at that point BT is better. After we have itemized Kled, we want to get any Morello for Cannon to provide anti-heal, or Shadow Locket to make Kled more tanky. He has no mana pool, so he doesn't actually care about the negative effect of Shadow Locket. After that, throw AP items on Ziggs if you got him 3 star. These are items like Blue Buff, any Death Cap, any JG, Rageblade, or Static Shiv. If you only 2-starred him, you can transfer those items to Teemo later once you find him. The other tank items go on your strongest tank. This will be Poppy if you 3-starred her, Hecarim, Rel, or Darius. The carousel priority for this comp is Sword, Bow, Cloak, then Rod. Since we're rolling for this comp at level 5, we want to only pick up the units for the comp and only play those units. This is because we want to build up a large economy and get to 50 gold as fast as possible. Because of this, we never level in the early game, and the goal is to have more than 50 gold at stage 3-1 while being level 4. In order to get this much gold, we play for a 5 loss streak in the early game. And once we have our opener, we need to make items. Since we're playing for a loss streak most of the time, we can't be greedy and not slam items, but the items you want to make early are any items for Kled, Shadow Locket, or Morello. Once you get to stage 3-1, you will roll down to 35 gold at level 4. The reason why it's only 35 gold is because you only have to pay 3 gold to get better odds at level 4 for 1 costs, and after that you will naturally hit level 5 next turn. Once you get back up to 50 gold, we start slow rolling, meaning we roll down to 50 gold every single turn. This is to maximize our odds if we're hitting 3-star units. Our 3-star priority is Kled, Sigs, then Poppy, meaning that if you need to sell a unit for bench space, you should sell Poppy first, then Sigs. But in some cases, if you're really close to Poppy but far off of Sigs, You can sell off Sigs as you're not going to 3-star him that game. I also want to preface here that the only 3-star you need is Kled. Sigs and Poppy are just icing on the cake. If you are low HP once you get to 4-1, you might have to roll down until you hit Kled 3-star. This is not preferred as you always want to slow roll, but you cannot tank stage 4 as you take a lot of damage here. Once you hit Kled 3-star, you're done at level 5. If you are 1 or 2 off another 3-star unit, you just level up and hope to hit that later. After you hit Kled 3-star, you push to as high of a level as possible. This is preferably level 9, but most of the time you won't have enough HP to go farther than level 7 or 8. There, you start adding in more Cavaliers, and once you hit Teemo, you replace either Sigs, Poppy, or Kennen with them. You can also take out some of the Cavaliers for Darius if you need Armor Shred. You can add an Ivern/Volibear for a stronger frontline, or you can put in 3 Mystics or 3 Ironclad if the lobby is heavily AP or AD. Generally dropping Sejuani and or Hecarim once you get to stage 5 or 6 is fine, as they fall off very hard at that point, even with a 3 or 4 Cavalier buff. Therefore, it is crucial to scout when pushing levels so that you know which units you're looking for when you're rolling down later. Getting contested on this comp is bad, but not the worst. Since there are 29 copies of each one cost, 2 people can hit 3-star Kled, although it will be a little bit harder for both of them. You for sure prefer to be uncontested, but it's not impossible to play it contested. If you get contested, you have 2 different options. Option 1 is to play this comp and not go for 3-stars, then pivot into Jax or Aphelios as they use very similar items. The game plan then is very similar to those comps. Make sure you're saving enough HP so that you can go for level 8 with a lot of gold, and don't be afraid to roll at level 4 to get 2-star Hellions, or roll at level 6 on 3-2 for 5 Hellions. Option 2 is to contest and still go for 3-stars. This is definitely the riskiest option, and I would only do this if you meet these 2 requirements. The first one is to have perfect Kled items in the beginning, and the second requirement is that you have an early Kled 2-star. This way, we are far ahead and are still in a good spot to save HP during stage 2 and stage 3. General positioning looks like this. We have Sigs in the corner to keep him safe, Lulu is positioned in the backline, but closest to Kled to buff his attack speed. Kled is backline, but he will dash fast to the frontline since he's a Cavalier. This way, he doesn't get targeted by other frontliners immediately. Kennen is either far left or far right side, and wants to be on the opposite sides of the enemy carries. Rel is a bit closer to the middle, so that she shields most of our frontline and stuns the most units. Hecarim is on the outskirt to get the most healing from his ultimate. Sejuani wants to be positioned in front of units with important abilities so that she stuns them. Poppy is unimportant unless she's 3-starred. In that case, she wants to be opposite sides of the enemy carry, so she tosses her big buckle on them. Now moving on to some in-depth positioning examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Zyra. Kled is positioned to get to Zyra as efficiently as possible. Sigs and Lulu are second row as they're not in danger there, and to make Hecarim the farthest away unit. Rel is in the middle to stun both Kindred, Set, and Nunu. Kennen is opposite side of Zyra. Against the second guy, the big threat is Draven. Rel is positioned to tank the Draven, as well as stunning Hecarim, Warwick, and Mordekaiser. Kled is positioned on the right side to get to Draven as fast as possible. Lulu and Sigs are on the same side to help him get through the tanks that are on that side faster. Sejuani is stunning the Hecarim to prevent it from healing multiple times, and Kennen is on the opposite side of Draven. Against the third guy, the big threat is Nidalee and Jax. Kled is away from the Trundle, Lee Sin, and Pantheon, as those have abilities that make him squishier or decreases DPS drastically. Kennen is farthest away from Nidalee, so that he stuns the entire frontline. Lulu and Sigs are on the same side as Kled to hopefully kill the enemy Kennen before it casts. Rel is in the middle to stun the most frontliners possible. Against the fourth guy, the big threats are Vel'Koz and Lux. Kled and Lulu are opposite side of Lux, so that they don't get one-shot by her, and they are also out of the Vel'Koz ult range here. Kennen is opposite side of Vel'Koz. Rel is in the middle to tank the Vel'Koz ultimate and also to stun the frontline. Sigs is closer to the middle to tank the Syndra toss. That's the end of the guide. As you can see, we ended up with this team comp in the end, and on Tacter you can see what units and items I ended up with. You can also check out what the other people in my lobby were playing. Thanks again to Tacter for sponsoring this video, and check them out in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what video you want me to make next, and if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 3,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care, and see you in the next video.